You've tried every trick in the book, from side initiative to timers, to crush the slog of D&D 5e combat. Is there any way to actually turn that grind into fast, tactical fun? I'm glad you asked. There most definitely is. Hey there, adventurers. Welcome to the 80th episode of Short Rest Studios. My name is Judd, and I have done a few videos on ways to speed up your 5e combat. So has every other TTRPG creator on YouTube. There are some DMs and players who love to approach every battle like a chess match, deliberating over every move, but for lots of us, maybe most of us, we want to capture the speed, the urgency, the unpredictability of combat in our games. There's room for both kinds of fun, but this need for speed is obviously near universal.
I feel the need for speed.
Adventurers, I won't take a sponsorship unless I believe in the product, and I sincerely believe that today's sponsor has what very well could be the answer you're looking for. Nimble 5e is a fast, tactical, 5e compatible tabletop role-playing game. I had a chance to look at betas of 2 of the 3 game books, and not only does it solve the drudgery of 5e combat, it does tons more. Version 2 of Nimble 5e launched July 23rd on Backerkit with everything from digital downloads to a premium box set. I'll drop a link in the description. I'm going to crack open the short and sweet 53-page core rulebook. I won't hit every detail of Nimble 5e in this video, but I will touch on the things I find most exciting about the game. And you need to stick around to the end for what may be the most blazingly fun 5e combat system around. Yes, this is a new game system, but if you played 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons, it's going to feel very familiar to you. At the same time, it simplifies pretty much everything while bringing in some really exciting features from other games to create something new, fresh, and fast-paced. The first thing you'll notice is that this is an extremely well-produced book. The art is really nice. The books are intuitively organized. The monster stat blocks are short and sweet with everything you need to know right there at a glance. Even the character sheets get right to the point. The first section of the core rules covers character creation. You got 5 stats: strength, dexterity, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. There are 10 skills, each one based on one of your stats, just like D&D. Those stat bonuses become the skill bonus for the correlating skill. Plus, you get 6 skill points you can distribute however you like to beef up the skills you want more of at level 1. You've of course got skill checks, which work more or less the way you'd expect them to, with a little simplification. Then there's rolling with advantage. It looks like 5e in that you add an additional die and remove the lowest, but in Nimble 5e, advantage stacks. If you have multiple situations that give you advantage, you get multiple extra dice.
Yes! I am invincible!
You got rules for initiative, a simplified inventory system. The number of items a hero can carry is equal to 10 plus their strength. Proficiency, hit dice, all the usual suspects, but presented in a concise, easy to understand package. Really, I am super impressed with the organization and brevity of Nimble 5e's core rules. The section on combat is next, but I'm skipping that for now because I want to spend some more time on it. Combat is where, session to session, you're really going to experience what makes Nimble 5e stand out, and we're coming back to it later in this video. Next, you've got rules for long and short rests. A long rest has to be done in a safe place, like an inn that's designated by your DM, in order to get the full benefits. Then we get into equipment. The core book has a list of the standard melee and ranged fantasy RPG weapons. Everything you need to know about each one is right here in this handy dandy table. Then you've got the same for all the types of armor and adventuring equipment. Then we get into the monsters, and we start this section with a little how-to on running monsters in Nimble 5e. Most monsters are unarmored, and this means that you roll your damage dice plus modifiers, and that's the damage they take. But monsters can also have medium armor. The damage modifiers don't count, only the dice. Or heavy armor. Modifiers are not included, and they only take half the die roll damage. If you just need a whole bunch of cannon fodder, there are rules for minions here. You've got some nice, concise tips on improvising and designing encounters and tactics for your monsters and optional rules. And here's one of my favorite sections: legendary monsters. These are essentially your boss battles. These are monsters with special abilities that let your heroes know they're facing the real deal. During combat in Nimble 5e, your monsters will normally go after the heroes take their turns, but legendary monsters act after each hero's turn, and each has legendary resistances. These are features that maintain balance and fun while keeping the scary monsters scary. These features allow a legendary monster to negate damage from a single attack or succeed on a failed save. That's going to be absolutely horrifying for the characters, but it comes at a cost for the monster. For instance, check out this beautiful stat block for Grimbeak the Unyielding. Short, sweet, and to the point. Grimbeak gets one opportunity to use her legendary resistance, but she has to skip her next turn to do it. These legendary monsters also get special abilities when they reach half their HP. For example, when Grimbeak is bloodied, her Savage Screech, which is a one-time use ability, recharges. Then they get another when they first drop to 0 HP. Grimbeak can now move and attack on each turn instead of having to choose one. I mean, call me a sadist, adventurers, but can you imagine the looks on your players' faces? Then you get a page of rules for magic items, once again tight and concise. The final section of the core rules, at least in the beta version, gives you one page of incredibly simple rules for converting. Are you guys familiar with that word? Converting? It's kind of like converting D&D 5e monsters, spells, magic items, races, classes, and skill checks and saves to use with Nimble 5e. And this means that you can play any 5e adventure with Nimble. A published WotC adventure, a third-party module, your own homebrew, it doesn't matter. Even new adventures based on the 2024 core rules will be easily compatible with Nimble. That is a big deal. Finally, adventurers, I want to backtrack to the combat section, because if everything else here wasn't enough, this is the real magic of Nimble 5e. First, we have heroic actions. Like Pathfinder 2e, your PCs get 3 actions per turn. They can attack, cast a spell, assess using a skill check, or move on any of their actions. Then you also have reactions you can use when it's not your turn. You can help someone or make an opportunity attack, which we're probably all familiar with, but you also have defend and interpose reactions. The defend reaction reduces damage from an attack, and with the interpose reaction, you can push an ally within 10 feet out of the way of an attack and make yourself the target. You know, for when you're going for that heroic sacrifice. To start combat, you roll initiative as you would in D&D, but remember how I said you get 3 actions? Instead of creating the turn order, your initiative determines how many actions you get on your first turn. Heroes always go first in Nimble 5e. Whoever's ready first among the PCs takes the first swing. But if you roll low on initiative, you might only get 1 action. You had to get more than 20 to get all 3. All this is awesome, but where I think Nimble truly shines is right there on the first page of the combat section. There is no D20 roll to attack. In Nimble, heroes are heroes for a reason. They're really good at this stuff. To attack, you roll the damage die for your weapon, ability, or spell, and that's how much damage you deal to the target. If you roll a 1, you miss, but otherwise you always hit. There are no critical misses. For attacks with multiple dice, the die that lands furthest to the left determines whether the attack is a hit, miss, or crit. Crit, you say? You guys familiar with Zweihander? Nimble 5e shares one of its best features with that game, exploding damage dice. When you roll the max on your damage die, you get to roll again and add the result. If you roll the max again, you get to roll again. There's no limit. The damage just keeps going, and believe me, your players will go crazy when they start critting. Adventurers, click the link in the description to back Nimble 5e on Backerkit today. You can get the core rules, the character book with new streamlined but familiar classes, and an adventure to get your fun rolling. The pledge levels include digital downloads, softcover books, and even a premium box set with all 3 books in hardcover, spell cards, magic items, and a ton more.